Welcome back to Piofiore Faded Memories Part 4, where we're going to be continuing our romance with Nick, who kidnapped us at gunpoint. Yay! The whole crowd cheers. No, not really. Oh my goodness. He's a little weird. That much is, for sure now. But I don't understand why he kidnapped us. So we're going to, play and find out. So yeah, without further ado, let's go. Without any explanation, Nick took me into another room. There were two men inside. One wore glasses and looked intelligent. The other... Gilbert! Okay. Okay, yeah, wait. So fun fact, recently I learned that Gilbert is the same voice actor as Impy from Code Realize. And I'm not a huge Impy fan. Maybe I'll like him more when I replay Code Realize. I have plans for that one. But, for now, I was like, wait, I know this voice. So I had some people look it up for me. And I was like, cause I like Gilbert's look. I don't know if I'll like his character, but I like his look. And usually I end up liking the character, if I like how they look. Not always though. There've been a couple of Otome games where I've played, and, I have not enjoyed the character even though I liked how they looked. I don't like things being too formal. Call me Gil. Do you know this guy here? No. His name is Oliver Haas. He's a lawyer, but also sorts out our money and other things we probably need. The man named Oliver looked at me and formally bowed his head. I bowed to him as well. Now then, let's get down to business. Let's get down to business! You haven't been told anything yet, have you? I haven't. I haven't exactly had time to explain. No, you held a gun to my head, put chloroform over my mouth, and then I woke up. Come on, now, it's an Italian gentleman's duty to show due respect to such a fine lady. But I am a gentleman most of the time. Isn't that right, Kitty? I'll take that as a yes. Nick shrugged and chuckled since I didn't respond. Seeing him act as he usually did made me almost forget that I was with the Vice Conti. Let's get back to the topic here. To be blunt, Nick here turned on his family and came to me. Once a traitor, always a traitor. You may be here now, but the suspicion will linger. Which is why many of our men aren't very receptive of Nick. Yeah, that makes sense. Then again, Nick has brought a gift that should shut the mouth of any skeptic. And that's you, Katybug. Me? It's a strange story, but keep an open mind. First of all, you need to understand that you're someone special to the church. But why? And that's why you're to be protected. Special? Me? Yes. The church. Yes. Wait. What were they talking about? I sputtered with disbelief. This is all a terrible misunderstanding. I'm not special, I just live at the church. I've never heard a single person tell me anything otherwise. However, it is true that you possess some value to the church. The abduction attempt on you some time ago was tied to the church as well. Bombshell! What do you mean? I thought that was the Lao Shu anti-human trafficking. The church's bishop, Joseph von Rosberg, he's connected to the Lao Shu. The Lao Shu abducted the girls in Berlin was likely something they did in order to find you. So the Lao Shu targeted orphans because if they captured you, I'm sure they would have used you to bargain with Rosberg. This can't be true. Rafael Zone has known about this for a while, which is why they kept you in their custody. If you were some normal girl, they could have done anything they wanted to protect you. Instead of keeping you at their manor, they could have sent you elsewhere. There'd be no reason for a boss to keep someone of no value nearby. Okay, that's solid. I glanced at Nick. Well, be careful. I'm just glad you're safe. Made it worth my while running down here. Has Nick been looking out for me since the very beginning because of this? I didn't want to believe it, but the more I thought about it, the more sense it made. Keeping me at the Falzone Manor under their care. Living in that extravagant room. It was all because I had value? In any case, we decided to bring Nick on board with the Vice County. We still don't know what value you really have with the church. The extent of our influence stops short of any connection to them, after all. But there is reason for us to have you on our side. Let's just say you're our ace against the Falzone and the church. We want to replace the Lashu when working with Roseburg and the church. I've heard the Lashu is in a good situation simply by having the church's support. So I'm just a pawn. The Falzone and the Lashu are after you. So I don't intend on having you leave my place for a while. I will promise you that I'll treat you as a special guest. So how long do I have to stay here? Until I fulfill my goal. His words were bold and resolute. Your goal? That is something you don't need to know. So basically, I'm a prisoner. Great. Thanks, Nick. I mean, I guess I was a prisoner in the other place too, but Gilbert tapped Oliver's shoulder as if to reprimand him for replying coldly to me. My goal is to get the church's support, and to take over the town by defeating the Lashu and the Falzone. What's interesting is that Roseburg requested negotiations the moment we told him that you were with us. Once things are put into motion, our plans should move rather quickly. And once we're done with that, you're free to go wherever you like. Can I leave here and never come back? Everything I had heard up until now was hard to believe. I had never even considered being anything more than what I was. But right now, instead of all the words they spun together, something else concerned me. Of all people, why would Nick betray Dante? Why did he betray the Falzone? That is a good question. After a talk, Nick brought me back to the room where I had woken up earlier. Nick, I'm not special at all. Of course, you're a normal person. Nick doesn't see me as a special someone they were talking about. Okay, wait, no. No, I don't believe that, because if he didn't see you as someone special like they say you are, then he wouldn't have kidnapped you. I'm just saying. Hearing that brought me a sigh of relief. But regardless of what you think, the church does see value in you. The Falzone also believes that to be true. But it's not that important to us why the church sees value in you. What is important is that you're someone special to them and to the Falzone, which is why you're perfect for making deals. There was a lot I didn't understand, but there was one thing I really wanted to find out from Nick. Nick, Gilbert and Oliver aren't around now. So can you tell me something? Why are you doing all this? I was going to question him, but I have nothing to tell you. Oh, what I can say is that you shouldn't even think of trying to escape from here. What if I jumped out the window? What would you do? And with that, Nick turned his back and walked towards the door. Wait! I reached out and grabbed his arm. You care for Dante more than the Falzone family itself. I wasn't at the manor for very long, and even I could see that. I'm sure you have a reason for bringing me here. Does the Visconti have something against you, or is this part of your plan? I'm sure there's a good reason why. Well, aren't you optimistic? I'm here because I betrayed Falzone of my own accord. There's no future for the Falzone. They fear change and are shackled to their own outdated traditions and rules. You can't be serious. No matter what Dante does, nothing will change. He's just a hollow shell of a boss. They will fall apart sooner rather than later. In that case, I figured I would be a good choice to guide them to their demise. No, you're not that kind of person. I don't know who he is. I know we've only gotten to know each other recently, but I know that you're very kind at heart. The fact that you think that is already a mistake. You were good to me from the very moment I came out of the Falzone's care, and you stood guard over my room. What an unfortunate misunderstanding. It was just coincidence that I was by your room when you were trying to sneak out. You keep saying I'm kind, but everything I've done has been for my own selfish reasons. Nick coldly refuted my words. You said this to me before. Does that mean you're not approaching me as part of the Mafia, but rather approaching me as an individual? That was you trying to convince yourself. I didn't agree with what you said to me. The only reason I saved you that night was because you were of value to the church. I was going to you so that I could use you to my advantage, nothing else. I was at a loss for words at his coldness. In any case, I'm a traitor. I'll be flipped sooner or later. Dante may do it as the Falzon's boss, or maybe someone in the Vice County will lay their hands on me. But whatever happens to me isn't important. I'm going to help the Vice County until the very end. Oof. Nick freed himself from my grasp and made his way quickly out of the room. There, in the empty room, I thought crossed my mind. I recalled the night I first stayed at the Falzon Manor. Nick said it was a coincidence, but there's no way he would have been around until that hour. Even if he wasn't keeping watch, he must have been coming by every so often to chat. Not only that, he made a cup of warm milk for me that night. He's also made you a couple lattes. The fact that he cared enough to do that was something he couldn't deny. I can't pin him down. It was the day after I was brought to the Visconti. I barely woke up from a restless sleep. I don't have any choice but to stay here. I mean, if I was her and stay in bed all day, what would happen to me if I tried to escape? All I could imagine was that it wouldn't lead to a happy ending. You'd probably die. They told me that I could walk freely within the manor, but it still felt like a cage. I still felt like a caged bird. I didn't feel well back when I first stayed with the Falzon either, but Nick and the others all tried their best to make me feel at home. I was walking around the hallway when I noticed something. Where is that coming from? I heard laughter and cheering and began making my way towards the sound. What is going on? I peeked inside the lounge to find a bunch of people laughing and cheering. Kitty, come here! What? I didn't know how Gil knew I was peeking in, but he immediately dragged me into the room. He finally decided to get married. Can you give him your blessing? Oh, congratulations. I gotta do my best to build a good home now. Good to hear that. You better not cause that wife any grief. Of course, speaking of which, why not you can let me get hitched? You got a whole harem to choose from. Indeed, there are many beautiful women in this world. There's no way I can settle down. Gil, you're a gosh damn playboy. Not at all. The trouble is finding someone who thinks I'm good enough for them. The ruckus here, it's different from the Falzon family. They're so open and frank with each other. To be honest, I wasn't fond of the Visconti. What scared me about them wasn't my abduction, but rather what I'd heard when I was at the Falzon Manor. About the Borma Mafia being killed and Dante's suspicion of the Visconti behind it. But they all looked so happy. Wait, where's Nick? I looked around and noticed Nick standing quietly in the corner. He wasn't mingling with the Visconti, and neither were they speaking to him. Nick betrayed his family, so it seemed like the Visconti members didn't see him in a good light. What did they say? Oh, once a betrayer, always a betrayer? Looks like the Falzons are in a kerfuffle about your betrayal. I'm not surprised. The last few aren't very active now, but the killings are still going on. More have been reported dead from all sides. The death toll keeps rising. The top brass is being targeted too now. About the Falzons, do you think he was dragged into this mess? Judging by the autopsy, yes. This isn't the work of any organization here. I sniffed around a bit myself, and I've come to the conclusion that someone other than the Borma Mafia is involved. If that's true, then it's not effective for us to all move our own ways. Guess I'd better get in contact. I froze hearing Gilbert's words. What's the matter, Nick? Did I hear that wrong? Did you imply that the Mafia should come together to talk? I hope you didn't forget where I came here. Of course I remember. You want to get rid of the Falzon, right? But that requires time and preparation. There's a chance that Laoshi will attack us while we go after the Falzon. And hey, you just said that the killer might be someone outside the Borma Mafia. I don't want whoever that is to shoot us from behind. Am I wrong in thinking that? Not at all, you're absolutely right, Gilbert. I suppose I was rushing things. His words made me realize I wasn't thinking clearly about my goal. Well, I do know how you feel, Nick. He laughed in an effort to console me. More questions! More questions! I have some theories, but I don't want to say anything until I know. It had already been 2 weeks since I began staying with the Visconti. Searching for his whereabouts in the manor had become a daily chore for me. Nick, there you are. I'm glad I found him today. He had been busy since coming here, and I hadn't had much of a chance to talk with him. I don't think he wants to talk to you. I spoke with Gil how I was getting bored, so he allowed me to use his kitchen. So, I was wondering if you could tell me when we could dine together? I'll make your favorite food then. Gil, huh? Nice to hear you're getting along. Well, he did tell me to call him that. You were there when he said it, weren't you? He looked away from me as I stuttered, then spoke nonchalantly to me. Unfortunately for you, but my schedule is a bit precautious now. Don't worry about what I like. Why don't you make something that Gilbert likes? I'm sure he'll be happy. Nick? My shoulders fell in disappointment hearing his unfriendly tone. Hey Nick, I was heading to the station. Can you come along? Sure. Well, you stay put, you hear? Where am I supposed to go? You guys have me basically as your freaking prisoner. Ugh, so rude. I was looking through the papers at my desk while taking a smoke when... We have a problem. He ran into my room and caused a breeze that blew the papers off my desk. Whoa, the hell, Robbie? Stop running around like a little kid. This is no time for making jokes. We've got a problem, Marco. You said that already. Now calm down. Roberto combed his hair with his fingers and took a deep breath before speaking. Gilbert Redfield just arrived to visit the jail cells. So he came to pressure us for a visitation? The problem is that Redfield brought Nicholas Francisco with him. I see. You're not surprised? Huh? Oh, yeah, surprise. Never thought Nick would side with the Visconti. Mark, I know you have intel on various matters from the outside. You know something the police don't. Isn't that right? Be honest with me, Marco. Good grief. This is going to be a pain. Then again, he'll find out sooner rather than later. It looks like Nick betrayed the Falzone family. He's a Visconti from now on, so you treat him that way too. Roberto was glaring at me. Why didn't you share such important information with me? Then what? I tapped my cigarette on the edge of my ashtray as I responded in a calm manner. Robbie, we're cops. Whether someone in the Mafia betrays someone else or not, it's none of our concern. True, regardless of who goes where, they are still criminals. Roberto seemed to have accepted my response, though somewhat reluctantly. Suddenly, he raised his head and looked at me. I wouldn't be surprised if Roberto, right here, this kid, became, a love interest in another, like a fan disc. Marco, what about her? Do you know where she is? Especially because he's so interested in me. She who? She, as in that girl, the one Francisco said was his friend. Oh, that girl? Roberto wasn't seeing Kitty in a good light. After all, he hates the Mafia with a passion. He even assumed she was a mob, too. I was worried he'd misunderstood Kitty if I explained his situation, but he was going to find out one way or another. I shrugged and decided to speak the truth. It looks like Nick took her with when he went to the Visconti. I could tell Roberto wasn't pleased. Judging by Nick's association with Kitty, she must have some value to him, which also made sense as to why he would take her with him. How dare he hold on to her like that? Huh? Something wasn't right here. What the hell is he yapping about? He was making it sound like he had special feelings for her. Roberto, don't tell me. I thought those two were barely acquainted with each other. Or are they actually a lot more closer than I think? Suddenly, a thought crossed my mind. I often took Roberto to the church back when he first arrived to Berlin. I recalled that he seemed interested in Kitty back then. Oh, yes, Kitty's putting the pieces together. I took a deep breath. Listen to me. Think of this as a lesson from someone who lives longer than you. Be kind to the girl you care about. Where did that come from? What in the world are you saying? Just hear me out. I cleared my throat before speaking. Roberto looked pretty irritated. Don't get yourself involved unnecessarily. I have no idea what that means. You're telling me to not go near her? That's right. Nick's marked by the Falzone now. Just stay put. Getting involved is only going to make matters worse. Roberto's shoulders were shaking. He seemed even angrier than before. If that's true, then isn't she in danger too, having to stay near him? If so, we need to save her at once. It is our job as officers to help civilians. Hey, Robbie? I already know. Berlin is ruled by the Mafia. Roberto looked away from me and spoke as if he were trying to convince himself. The police here don't have the power to do much in this town. I know the people live here by turning a blind eye to the criminal activities carried out by the mafia. Everyone tells me the same thing, but crimes won't bring happiness to the people. Seeing that I wasn't saying anything, Roberto glared at me and began yelling. We, the police, stand by justice. We cannot allow such evil to run freely. I became an officer to stop crime. I became an officer to serve justice. As long we and justice stand as one, we will prevail over evil. Roberto, you're not. Roberto quickly turned around and stomped out of my office. I grabbed a dust-covered report from my desk. There was a transfer document from the Rome office about Roberto. A perfect score on his exam and skill test. Background education close to perfect. His achievements among the young guys on Rome police force were top-notch, but he seemed to have a lack of control when it comes to justice. He showed excessive violence against criminals. His life changed when he went off against the son of the politician who was caught on a misdemeanor charge, which is why the Rome police decided to send him here to cool off. And here he is, in Berlin, a town run by the mafia. He would embrace the culture here and be nurtured into a fine officer. I bet that's what his superiors must have thought. Yeah, send off an elite from Rome to the middle of nowhere. I wasn't surprised he had problems here, especially with the place's character. To think he needs to live among criminals without anyone else to stand beside him. No wonder Roberto was frustrated. I lit a new cigarette and took a long, deep breath. He must have been one of those kids who always watched over the others. He's not a bad guy. That much I know after being with him this long. But he's still a pain in the butt. I chuckled and closed the report. Sure. Say, Nick, why don't you spend some time with her? Why? I don't have the time. I don't think there's any benefit for her to associate with someone who's going to die soon. Come on. It's only a matter of time before I'm gone. Dante is merciless against traitors. Think about it. Letting a treacherous underboss go without punishment is going to hurt the family name. Which is why my days are numbered. So you better use and abuse me while you still can. Hey, there's no telling what'll happen. Are you serious? If so, I may have overestimated you. Don't tell me I was wrong to put you and Dante on legal footing. Shut it. Just leave things to me. I think Gilbert's trying to save you and keep you alive. That's what I think. Sure. I was able to see him again. Only after spending a few more days without him in sight. Welcome back, Nick. You're still awake? Lack of sleep isn't good for you. So says you. You never sleep. I feel like Nick has been avoiding me recently. Yeah, he has. Because he thinks he's going to die. And he doesn't want to get any more attached to you than he is. Or have you attached to him. Because, he might end up in the bottom of a river. He was frowning at me as if I were a bother. But I tried to keep my spirits up. I heard you haven't been eating much recently. Maybe you're dining out, but there needs to be a balance with... Sorry, but I have no time to talk like this. I need to help Oliver with his work. Yes, I know, Oliver told me himself so. I brought out a plate of a hot sandwich made with various ingredients between pieces of grilled bread. They were stuffed with mozzarella. I made you these. I figured you could snack on them while you do your work. Can you stop it already? All of your fussing is annoying. I don't know what you're thinking, but things aren't the same as they were back when we were at the manor. I only approached you so that I could bring you here with minimal risk. Now that that's done, I have no reason to associate with you. Ouch. Nick looked down at me with an irritated look on his face. I don't care about you anymore, so do you mind not trying to pester me like this? I'm not kind to you like you mentioned before. That may be true, and you may not like it, but I still want to be with you. Even if you were deceiving me, I'm still happy to see you. For a moment, Nick lost his words and seemed afraid to speak. Look, girl, you've already started talking. You might as well keep going. Nick, wait a moment, kitty. He placed his finger on my lip. He looked into my eyes with a flustered expression on his face. You're not thinking straight. Take a deep breath. Did he think I was gonna propose? I mean, confess? No, I'm thinking just fine. Thank you. A strange feeling came upon me as I began to pout, and Nick tried to console me. You do know that's what people say who aren't thinking straight, right? In any case, let's calm down a bit. No one's... He's like, you're getting worked up. Calm down. He's the one who's flustered. It feels like it's been forever since he's called me by my name. But Nick, I didn't have words to follow that. Even if Nick didn't stop me, I wouldn't have been able to finish that thought. But I couldn't just leave him be. It took me a while, but now I was starting to understand why. It's for the way you look at him. I decided to speak to him once he moved his hand away from me. Even if you were planning on using me from the very beginning, I don't think everything you've shown me has been a lie. As I mentioned before that you've treated Dante like your brother ever since you were little. You have that kindness deep inside you. You really are optimistic, aren't you? And with that, Nick turned away from me and walked off. You didn't take your sandwiches! Get back here! Maybe he was right. I may be too optimistic. But I couldn't believe that he was taking everything he said and did at the thousand. I want to know what he's thinking. I wanted to better understand him. His feeling grew stronger inside me. More days passed without me having a chance to see Nick. Then one day I was drinking coffee in the lounge with Gil and the rest. Gilbert, I need to ask you something. Could I see you in your office later? Of course. Stop by whenever you like. Oh, Nick, how about taking a break? Sorry, but I don't have the time. I'm busy, so if you'll excuse me. Nick quickly turned around and walked away. I kind of want to throw something at him. I gave a small sigh, seeing him hurry off without another word. Say, why don't you give up on this? You saw the look on his face, didn't you? Oliver spoke to me with pity as he dipped disgust in his coffee. These past few days I had been enjoying coffee with Gil and Oliver here in the lounge. They were a little friendlier than I thought, and took the time to speak with me. I'm just getting in Nick's way. I suppose that's it. He does have the troubled look on his face when he sees me. But I was scared that he was just going to disappear from me if I didn't try my best. It's too soon to give up, you know? I mean, he is a pretty good liar. Gilbert, don't get yourself involved. Okay, like Gilbert. Come on, I can't let a nice girl like her cry like that. She's not crying yet. I'm just saying, now then, about Nick. Sure, he may be trying to avoid you, but that's not the only thing on his mind. What did you mean? What do you mean? Exactly as I said, I'm not saying anything philosophical here. You know, why don't you tell me a little bit about you and Nick? Like what? Like, what he is saying to you? He doesn't want to talk with you anymore? I traced back the conversation with Nick, then shook my head. He didn't say that to me, but he mentioned that he only approached me because he wanted to use me. He also said he wouldn't treat me as kindly as he did before. I see. Gil gave me a wide grin and continued to question me. What about you? Do you want the kind Nick from before? I was happy with how Nick took care of me back when we were with the Falzone family, but I'm not trying to make amends just so he can keep treating me kindly. Figures, you keep going near him even when he gives you the cold shoulder. I don't know him at all. It's hard to tell whether he's lying to me or not, which is why I want to get to know him better. I see. Well, looks like you have your answer then. Huh? I've known Nick a long while. He used to act as a liaison between us and the Falzone, so we've been seeing each other every so often. I didn't know that. He doesn't like being intruded upon. He's a great listener, but a horrible speaker when it comes to talking about himself. Hell, I still don't know what his drink is. Indeed, it seems as though he has a knack for hiding his likes and dislikes from others. Huh. What's the matter? Nick doesn't talk about himself? Yeah, he must like keeping secrets. Nick talked to me about his childhood. Did he make that up to mislead me? No, that seems too real to be a lie. Maybe he spoke to me about it to bring me closer to him? But if he wanted to do that, he could have lied about something a bit simpler. From looks of it, I think Nick feels bad about treating you the way he does now. Maybe he's trying to put distance between you now so that he doesn't feel bad for you. That couldn't be true. How about we make a bet? A bet? One on whether or not my guess is right. Gilbert, you're getting yourself into trouble again, aren't you? Oliver sighed in disbelief, but Gil was grinning at me like a child. The bet is between you and me. What do you say? I don't think we'll ever get an answer. Nick wouldn't tell us, even if we asked him directly. I have an idea that's sure to work. How about it? Guess I didn't need to ask. Alright. I thought for a moment, then nodded hesitantly. Soon, I would find out how bad of a decision it was to agree to Gil's bet. Oh no! Oh my goodness! I can't seem to rest well recently. No surprise considering I need to take care of both her and the Visconti's work. No, she's not a reason why I'd be tired. I let out a sigh and chuckled with scorn. I decided to drag my tired body back to the new room that I called home. That's Gilbert, and I was captivated the moment I laid eyes on you, and now I'm a slave to my... Oh no! This is so cheesy! I want you to accept my love. Gilbert had held her hand and gently kissed it. Wait a minute, Gil. No, I can't wait. You set my heart ablaze with passion. What the? Gilbert then forced Kitty into her room. Oh, this is such an awkward situation. Oh my gosh. Wait, Gil, you're too close. Sorry, but bear with me a little longer. What is going on here, Gilbert? Nick came storming into my room and he forced Gil off me, pulling him away as I sat up on the bed in surprise. Don't get in my way, Nick. Love is free, isn't it? Sorry, this is so funny. Hey, you did bring her as a gift to me when you came here. I can do whatever I want with her. Love? There's no love here. It looks like you were only trying to force yourself on her. Nick is smiling? No, wait. For some reason, he seems really angry. You're an Italian gentleman. I need to request that you act like one. Besides, I brought her here under the condition that you would protect her. If you're a man of honor, keep your word. He was smiling as usual, but his eyes were glaring intensely at Gil. Noticing the bewildered look on my face, Gil suddenly laughed and shrugged. Guess I won the bet, huh? Or do you want to see more? No. Gilbert, what do you mean, bet? She was so down in the dumps that I decided to do a little roleplay. Nick, if you really didn't want to get involved, why bother to come in and help? Forget the lies and save your effort for the truth instead. And with that, Gil quickly took his leave from the room. Thank you, Nick. I hesitantly spoke to Nick as he muttered profanities at what just happened. I'm happy you did that for me, but I'm sorry to deceive you like this. I didn't think Gil was going to go that far. Well, I could tell you were seriously not enjoying the situation you were in. Don't scare me like that. He was worried about me? Yeah? Oh, can I ask you a favor? I looked straight at Nick. I won't ask you to treat me the way you did back at the Falcon Manor. Instead, could we rebuild our relationship from the beginning? I want to know who you really are, Nick. I don't mind you're not treating me as well, as long as we can talk. Although, to be honest, I'm not sure why I want to talk to you so much. I won't speak to you as nicely as before. Is that fine? Yes. Thank you, Nick. Girl, no! Don't sell yourself short like that! Why are you so happy? Because I just am. Nick betrayed us? If that's true, we're in a lot of trouble, and underboss returning the family isn't normal. Yeah, if that's true, it's seriously gonna affect the Falcon name. I don't see why we need to worry, since our next step is inevitable. Under normal circumstances, killing Nick was to be expected. Let him in. Let him be. My voice brought silence to the salon. Boss! The hotel room with a cold blank stare. No one said a word. I returned from the salon back to my office and fell heavily in my chair. Acknowledging Nick's betrayal will affect the morale of the forlorn family. Nick's betrayal is still a matter of speculation instead of truth to many here. Nick may have fabricated a betrayal in order to infiltrate the... Some within our organization believe that to be as well. Nick, what are you thinking? A thought crossed my mind, which I shook out of my head. If Nick's betrayal is real, then I'll finish him off myself. But I slowly exhaled as I continued to think. Oof. Nick let out a sigh, but I could tell he was looking at me with kind eyes. From here onward, Nick would never avoid me like before ever again. Unless he died. On that rather happy note, we're going to wrap up this episode. As always, remember to eat some food, get some sleep, and drink some water because you are important and so is your health. I will see you guys in the next episode. Have a good night, or day, or afternoon. Bye-bye!